think we are live. Yes, we're good to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Road Unfiltered. It's your host, Darian Starling here. Another. This is going to be the last game preview of the season. Yes, UTSA takes on Marshall at the Frisco Bowl. I believe it's next Tuesday night. Weird time for any football, but yes, Tuesday night UTSA will be taking on Marshall. And I think it is very interesting whenever you look at Marshall, what they're going to bring to the table, and the fact that they got a lot of people that's going to be sitting out of the game. There's, their quarterback is into the transfer portal. So they have Chad Pennington's, I believe it's is it his brother? It's a relative of Chad Pennington, the quarterback for the Jets years ago, but his relative is going to step in and be the quarterback. I think his name is Cole Pennington. He is obviously on the thumbnail of this video. He's going to step in, and we'll see what that looks like. I do think, and I think I said this last week, I do believe that Pennington gives UTSA our best chance at winning our first bowl game, getting our first bowl win. And, a backup quarterback coming in against Frank Harris is going to be a tall order for Marshall. They're going to be fighting uphill most certainly in this particular game. But before I jump into more of a deep dive of what that game's going to look like, I did want to mention a couple of things for you guys. So with it being the last sort of game preview deal, I would honestly like to get some feedback from you guys on if you guys would like to continue to do this throughout the offseason. I am going to be making a lot of videos with regards to some of the recruits that we're bringing in. I am also going to branch out and start covering the AAC in general. Okay, Albert is letting me know that's Chad's son. Okay, I thought so, but I didn't want to sound crazy. Thanks, Albert. But yeah, I'm going to start covering other, just the AAC in general, just because I think a lot of what happens in the conference is relevant to UTSA. I'm obviously going to look at it through a UTSA lens, but I do think it is good to keep an eye on the entire conference. So I will be doing coverage on that as we build into next season. I'm also doing some op-eds, so I'm back into doing some writing, and you'll see an article that I put together on one of the recruits that we just nailed in, Elijah Newell. You'll start seeing a lot more of that. So I'm going to be a little bit more diverse with the content as we go into the offseason. I'm also talking to a few guys now to see if we can come in and throw in some spurs. I will do, Bob. I will do. I'm also talking to a couple of guys right now that is going to come in and help out with some content as well. Just so we can start kind of hitting this thing from all angles. I think, giving you guys as much coverage and stuff as you need is extremely important. And that's something that I want to do. So I'm kind of trying to put a team together so we can do that and we can continue with coverage and stuff all throughout the offseason. So just be on the lookout on Twitter for a lot of updates. Especially whenever I put this article out, it's going to be really important for you guys to like and subscribe and retweet that stuff on Twitter so we can start building, an audience for that as well. So anyway, just wanted to get those things out the way. If you are new here, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. But yeah, back to Marshall. Yeah, so I got to be honest with you guys. This is not the most exciting game, I'd say, that we've had this year. I think although it's a bowl game, I think there was a lot more on the line, I think, throughout the regular season that we were just, a lot more interested in, and there was just higher stakes. But what I will say is that this particular game doesn't really move the needle, but I hope the team isn't thinking like this, but it doesn't move the needle that much because I think they're sitting, there's players sitting out. That just takes the steam out of some of these games, and I think maybe it's more so me expecting us to win. But here's what I will say, and I think this is worth noting. I think that Marshall's defense is pretty good. And if you think about us playing Marshall back in the day, if I'm not mistaken, we struggle to score against them. We don't score against them very, very well. And we haven't done that in quite some time, if I'm being honest. If I can, you know what, I should have done this because I'm just going off of memory, but I believe I don't know if we've scored over. Have we scored in double digits against this team? I don't know if we have, honestly. I know the year we played them and I was there, I know we didn't that year. But I don't know. I just know that defense can potentially put us in a situation that makes this game a lot closer to what it is. But I don't expect them to be able to move much offensively against us just based on them not having their top receiver. They're not going to have their starting quarterback. I think there's even some linemen that may not play. And I don't know if it's because some of these guys have shots at the next level or they're entering the transfer portal. I know they're missing a tight end also. So they're going to be missing some guys. I don't know. I mean, and you guys let me know if you have, but are we missing anybody significant in this game? Are we going to – I mean, obviously the Trey Moore, that's hugely significant. But outside of Trey Moore, are we missing is there a lot of players that's sitting out? I haven't really heard that, but if you guys have, please let me know. I think that we're going to pretty much have our team fully intact in this game. And with that, even if they have a good defense, we should find a way to beat them, quite frankly, if I'm being completely honest. What's going on, ATX? Thanks for being here, buddy. But yeah, I think, listen, whenever I was thinking about, topics that I'm going to discuss for this particular episode, obviously you have the bowl game and the drama around the school right now, but it still kind of it kind of takes me back to, where we're headed, what we need to solve. And it just kind of put me in a mindset, especially with, we got a lot of people recruiting. We got a lot of people committing, right now. It's commit season and guys are getting ready to sign and football season is winding down. It made me start thinking about what we need to replace. Where do we need to improve? What's important for us to button up so we can be a competitive team next year? There's been a lot of talk about what we need to do off the field. How can we retain Coach Traylor? How can we retain good players and that sort of thing? And there's been a lot of pressure on the folks in the offices to make sure they do their job. And it's been a lot of folks putting pressure on us as fans and supporters of the program to make sure we donate. But taking it back to football is where I kind of want to go with it today. And I'm just trying to think, like I said, obviously, and you guys commented, drop any comments you want to about the game coming up. But one of the things that I am, obviously, I think from a defensive line standpoint, I'm not that worried because we have a lot of good defensive linemen, even though we're losing Trey Moore. But I think reloading there is going to be really, really important for UTSA. Okay, I see you, ATX. Thanks for that. Depth chart dropped about an hour ago. Besides Trey Moore, it doesn't seem like anyone's missing. Yeah. In that case, if that's the case, we should steamroll them, if I'm being honest. But, as I was saying, I think that there are some areas that we're going to have to sheer up in recruiting. I know I touched on this a little bit last week, but it really just rung in my head today as I started looking at our recruits and starting to put content together just based on the recruits and the commits that we got coming in, just so we can all be weary of who our next players are going to be, what we're trying to do with them, so on and so forth. I think that obviously Rashad Wisdom's position, which that's the piece I wrote. I wrote about the kid Elijah Newell that just committed. I believe it was yesterday. He committed to the program. He plays that dog safety position that Rashad Wisdom plays a lot, where he drops down close to the box quite a bit, and he's hugely important to stopping the run. But there's one concern that I have about that, and you can read that in the article. But our safeties were a problem in coverage, and I worry that we go get a safety that I didn't really see much on his highlights or in film, on some of the film from him. We didn't see him play that high safety role a lot, which leads me to believe if he's not playing that, how good could he fare in man coverage? So, I understand us going in and getting a safety that can play that sort of dog position, but you almost want to get a guy who is coming from playing that high safety position and kind of convert him into a dog type safety closer to the line of scrimmage. I'd rather that be the case rather than us going to get one of those guys, right? And then asking him to adapt and asking him to develop skills to play high safety and to play in man coverage. That's a very tough skill to learn, especially in college, especially new, trying to learn that against really, really good guys. So that's going to be tough. I am a little concerned about that whenever I looked at the film on that kid. I think he has a lot of talent. I think he has very good ball skills because, interestingly enough, he plays wide receiver on the other side of the ball, and he's pretty good. He's all state and that sort of thing. But I think, that dog safety position, he's going to be able to come in. I don't know if he'll get into the rotation as young as he is, but I think we'll need to cover that position. We'll need to make sure we get safeties that can do better in coverage because that there was sort of a weak spot for us. I think obviously on the offensive side of the ball at the receiver side, we need to have some improvements there as well. There's a lot of X's and O's stuff that I think we got to do better next year, and I just hope that we're able to capture some of these guys as recruits and bring them in and they can kind of plug and play and buy into the program and be good in doing so. Bob says, Coach said players in the portal can play in the bowl game. Why they would play in any other thing? Why they would play in any other thing? I think what you're trying to say is, why would they play? Yeah, listen. If I'm be honest with you, man. If I'm a coach, I don't know if I want guys who are entering the transfer portal to play in my bowl game. The rule might technically allow for it, but I just don't know if I'd want that. That is more than having a foot out the door. You're out the door. You went to that transfer portal. I know there's deadlines and things like that, but I don't know. Well, I guess it would depend on how high stakes the bowl game is, I guess. I'm sure there are some folks who are playing in some pretty big bowls who just, who would completely, utterly disagree with me on that. But, I don't know. Maybe it's my pride or it's just the way I feel about it. But if you've entered the portal, listen, the thing about these football teams and the thing about being on a football team is the collective goal that you all come together to reach. The bond that you build with your teammates is really, really hard to break. You cannot see your teammates for years, and then you see them, years down the line, and that bond is still there because that what you build, that blood, sweat, and tears kind of element that you build together collectively is special. And I think when guys, quit and try to come back or do that type of stuff and try to walk out the door and all that type of stuff, people take it to heart, man. People take it to heart 100%. I've seen it 1,000 times. I've seen guys, we've had guys in our program back when I was at UTSA that quit, and guys were pretty pissed about them. Listen, I had a situation personally where I was upset with something and I walked out and I missed the practice, and you want to talk about how pissed people were at me for doing that. and how some people, you know, there was a lot of things said to me during that particular time, and I probably deserved it, if I'm being honest. But anyway, that's a long way for me to say, like, yeah, if guys are not, if guys are already in the transfer portal, I'm probably moving forward in that bowl game without them, if I'm being honest. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine if Dion was in if Dion, the news it would that would break if Deion Sanders in Colorado had made a bowl game and he had some guys that may have been starters on his team into the transfer portal? You know they wouldn't be playing. You just know they wouldn't be playing, right? So anyway, I don't know what Trailer's approach is to that, but I'm pretty sure we're on the same page about that one. But looking at some more stuff on UTSA here. I know I kind of talked about the Marshall piece in the beginning, but just thinking about UTSA specifically, and sort of what we're looking at in terms of what we're going to be bringing to the table. I truly believe that I think our guys are going to come out and have energy, right? I think it's a historic time for UTSA because I think it's obviously, I said it's our best time to win a bowl game, but I think it's also historic because of those seniors that's done so much for the program. And I think the guys who are going to be playing, and I know Coach Traylor's probably selling this too, is like, you win that for them. Those guys deserve it. You know, these guys are the ones who, you know, hung banners at UTSA, at UTSA football for the first time in the program's history, right? I think that's something I'm sure Coach Traylor is going to be selling to the team, and I think that is something he should sell. And it's one of the reasons why I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to see the scenes after that. You know, I think I said it before, but I think it'll be a perfect way for Frank Harris and Rashad Woodson to go out. And I said it at the beginning of the season, you know, a bowl game victory will be huge. Obviously, we want that conference title anytime we can get it, but I'm going to be really happy if we go in and win. If we lose, I think that would be a complete disaster. But if we find a way to win, that would be just huge. That would be money, in my opinion, for UTSA. So I am really excited to see what we're able to do come Tuesday. Let's see. All right. Another thing I wanted to chat about briefly is, I'm sorry, my notes have lost me. Yeah, another thing I wanted to chat about briefly is, you know, whenever we look at these bowl games and where we are as a program, I was talking to a couple of guys this past week, and they said something that was pretty interesting to me, and I'd be curious to hear what you guys think about this. But I think that, or not I think, but their thoughts about our bowl game situation is that the bowl is not, because the bowl game is against Marshall and because it's such a small situation and folks were really wanting to be, you know, in the NY6 and things like that, there's a lot of folks who are really, really down on this game on Tuesday. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think in the comments about that. I just explained why I'm excited about it, but there's a lot of folks who are not going to travel, people who normally travel who are not really going to travel because it's on a Tuesday and that sort of thing, but just aren't really that excited about the game because we didn't win conference, and this is an underachieving season for us. I don't know if I agree with that. so much. And I didn't agree with it then, and I kind of wanted to speak about it now. But listen, I don't think our season is underachieving. I think a bowl win in general. Yes, I would have liked to be in a bigger bowl. Yes, at knee-jerk reaction, I wasn't super enthused by the game. And again, yes, now it sounds like I'm agreeing with them. But then again, yes, I am. I do think there's not as much buzz as we'd probably like it to be. But at the end of the day, I think it's a hugely important game. I still do. I still do think it's a hugely important game. I don't buy the fact that it's not one of the big bowls or we didn't reach the level that we thought we'd reach. And since we did not do that, now we're all, the season is kind of, we just kind of throw our arms at this, throw our arms up. I think personally that a lot of their sentiment and their feeling has to do with the news surrounding UTSA and how exhausting it's been. I feel like it's been pretty exhausting whenever you consider our coach taking interviews elsewhere. There's this huge sentiment that there's no money and that we're not doing enough to retain talent, and we're not doing enough to retain staff. I think it's probably some fatigue from that, but I just don't think that I just don't buy that this is a small game or this is a game that is not at all meaningful. That to me is being very short-sighted in my opinion. And I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to me. I think we should celebrate the team. Listen, I tell you this, I don't think folks will want to go to I don't think folks would want to go back to the years where we were losing, I don't think folks want to go back to the years whenever I was leaving the program and we were going through a transitionary period and we weren't making bowl games and we were, finishing with 4-win seasons and things like that. So, yeah, the season didn't go perfect, and I'm happy that our standard is high. But at the same time, this season wasn't the success that we wanted it to be, but it was still a success. And in my opinion, it can still be hugely successful if we win this bowl game, period. Got a couple comments coming in. Thank you guys for those. ATX says, seems like it's people cutting off their nose to spite their face. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I don't get it. Like I said, I'm happy that the standards is high. I'm happy that we're holding we're holding our coach or whatever and our team to that standard. I think that's crucial because sometimes whenever we do hold our team up to those standards, that sort of takes this infectious type of path here, and people just around the program start to be the reputation. Then that starts to get into the recruits. So there's real good positives in that. The negatives though is that people aren't satisfied because we went 8-4. I don't know that I don't understand. Okay. Mike says, saw a report that Trey Moore is either going to UT or Ohio State. Any thoughts on that? Listen, I hate that he's leaving, but what he's probably trying to do is solidify something in the first round. If coming off the season he had with us, that dude's talented though. Let's be real clear about that. That dude is a next level talent, 1,000%, 100%. And what he's probably doing is saying, look, I'm going to probably walk on any campus and start. And I don't care where it's at. And some of these schools that's mentioned here, I can't blame him because there's probably, I can't say I can't. I can. He's probably going to get life-changing money, 1,000%. Can't blame him for that. That's the nature of this NIL beast that we're operating under. So he's probably going to get life-changing money. And, UT is in the college playoff right now. So, that's not a bad place to be. You ain't traveling far. You're going to be, an hour up the road from UTSA if you still be in Texas. And Ohio State, who wouldn't want to go there? to play football, to be a part of that team. They're always in the thick of it. So, listen, it is what it is. Okay, Elaine Tran says Trey Moore is going to Texas. Yeah, Texas wouldn't be a bad fit for him. He'll definitely accomplish his goals. I know he's going to get paid if he's going to Texas. You can rest assured that. Good for him. Good for him. It sucks. It sucks for us that we have to lose a player like that, but this is the environment we're going to have to operate in. And I think, like I said before, we as UTSA have to carve out a lane in this NIL stuff to make our program attractive as well. That's always going to be important. Guys like Trey Moore who are surefire next level players. If we don't have the resources to compete with some of these schools financially, listen, I'm all for this guy betting on himself, going to get paid, and he's going to be playing alongside a lot of talent just like him, and he's probably going to be able to get more one-on-ones that he would get if he was playing in the AAC. So, and I'm pretty sure that he's confident enough to believe he's going to win those one-on-ones, right? So that's what he's doing. I get it. Go get your money, man. I'm not mad at you. He did a lot of great things here for sure. Let's see. Mike says all bowls are big wins until we win some. Go Runners. I absolutely agree with that, Mike. 1,000%. We have to win one first before we start poo-pooing bowl games right now. I don't think we're in a position where we should be doing that. It just doesn't. Like I said, the season could have been better, but I think that we still had a very good season. I can tell you Colorado wish they had an 8-4 season and they still had a game to play. And I'm only using them because they're always on TV no matter what's going on because Deion's there. I guarantee you that they'd be happy. I guarantee you they'd be happy with a bowl game, and I think we should take that same approach. Because I know I'm really excited about it. Elaine says, keep up the great work. Yes, I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all for being here and doing it. This only works with you guys if you guys are here, and that's the thing. So, yeah, you guys are the ones who keep me here. I really appreciate your presence on these live chats for sure, and on all the videos and the contents and the Twitters and all the spaces. So appreciate you guys. Bob says, Marshall 3-5 conference, 6-6 overall. We cannot lose this game. You know what? I agree. I'll tell you this. If we lose this game, and I'm not saying we are, like, I want to be very, very clear about something. I think my prediction is that we probably blow this team out. They're going to have they're going to have a good defense. But from what I'm seeing, the players they're going to be missing, and the players that we're going to have at our disposal, we should keep their offense relatively quiet. And when I say relatively quiet, I mean like below 14 points for sure. I even think 14 points is a little generous, if I'm honest. I don't know what any of the spreads are or anything like that, but like this team shouldn't be scoring 2 touchdowns on us, if I'm just being honest. Our defense has not been known to just stop everything and everybody, but our defense can sometimes show that they come to play and we got you figured out, right? So, and especially our second half defense has been, there's a couple games at the end of the season that contradicts that point, but you get what I'm saying. Our defense should really press on these guys and put a thumb over them 100%. I think offensively we should have success. We should grow into the game. I understand I have a good defense, but I'm just expecting us to go in and win that game. But if we were to not win that game, if we were to somehow lose against Marshall, dude, that's going to be huge because, like, I feel like the momentum for Coach Traylor is going to go in the opposite direction. And it's going to be like, dude, all right, so this is the first time we're in a game, we're in a bowl game that we should 100% win. Like, this should not be there really shouldn't be a question, right? On if we win or lose this. We should win this game without a doubt. If we don't, That would be a very, very bad look. A very, very bad look. Especially like with who we have at quarterback, with what we have on the defense. This is our best chance by far. And I think, now listen, my sentiment would change on what the season, whenever I look back at the season, if we were to lose this game. So I don't think we will. I just want to be clear about that. But, I think we break through this time. Mike says, Summerall going to Tulane as head coach is big. Tulane will be a team we'll be battling in conference community. Listen, Tulane, I can tell you this. I can tell you something about Tulane. And like I said, and for those of you who are just now joining, I said earlier in the broadcast here, I'm going to start covering the AAC in general, just so we can keep eyes on our enemies. We can keep eyes on the rest of the conference, right? I really think that's big. And I've been doing a lot of research on Tulane, man. And dude, Tulane is a team or a program that they're just scratching and clawing. They don't have money. We heard Fritz talk about that. They don't have money, but they just find a way to just do good work. And that's what they're doing. They're going to be hell to deal with, man. There's no other way to say that. They're always going to be there. We're going to deal with them all the time. They have talent. And they get that sneaky talent too, right? They get that sneaky talent because, a lot of the big talent's going to go to Baton Rouge and want to play at LSU and that sort of thing. You go right up the road to New Orleans. Tulane's going to get a lot of talent too. It's going to get a lot of talent. Those boys can play. So, yeah, them too. See, it says Memphis too. Memphis is tough. Dealing with Memphis is an issue. Going to be an issue as well. Listen, our conference is not easy. It's not easy. Let's be very clear about that. ATX says, kind of jumped the gun, but have you seen the 2024 football schedule that dropped today? We swapped Tulane and USF out for Army and FAU. Any early thoughts? Did we? I have not seen that, but I will certainly pull it up right now. Let's go through it. Let me see if I can find it really quick. If you guys have a quick way for me to find it, that would be sick. But if not, I'm sure. You know what? JJ is always the best person to look up for these type of things. Shout out to JJ, man. When I want UTSA news, I go to JJ. All right. Let's see. I'm on JJ. Okay. Here we go. All right. The new scheduling, 2024 scheduling model here. I hate when I miss this stuff. This is what work will do to me. All right, so we have at home our AAC opponents. We have Florida, FAU, Memphis, North Texas, Temple. And away we're going to Rice, Army, Tulsa, and East Carolina. Interesting. Dude, I just hate. I'm going to be honest with you about. I'm glad you asked this question, by the way, ATX. I can't stand that Army. I can't stand that Army is we just have to deal with that. Oh, man, it bugs me. I'd rather deal with Tulane, honestly. South Florida, FAU. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that either, if I'm honest. But, FAU, they're hit or miss, though. Like, I don't think FAU was very good this year. They finished, 4-8, I believe. So, it's probably – I think it's an even swap. But off style of play alone, I like Tulane in over Army. I don't like playing Army. And they have our number. Let's just be honest about that. I don't like playing Army. They have our number. They're not fun to play against. It's just they've sort of been a kryptonite for UTSA, and that worries me, if I'm honest. That it's just concerning. It is certainly concerning. I'd rather play them non-conference, man. Playing them, I don't know. Those are my early thoughts. Not happy. Elaine says, I'll be rooting for UTSA. Just take one game at a time. I can see UTSA doing good things. Elaine, I believe you're new here. It would be great to get your subscription. I appreciate all the activity in the comments here. I certainly do, and I think that's a Baylor. You're a Baylor Bear, I'm assuming. Welcome. We take everybody. Everybody is welcome to the community, 100%. ATX said the spread is minus 11.5 UTSA. We should win this game. Yeah, and if I'm being honest, yes, and that's kind of what I mean by like the 14 points. I was thinking like they shouldn't. We are more, in my opinion, we should beat them by more than 11 points, 100%. I'm not giving out betting advice, just saying. But yes, we should beat them by. Yeah, we should cover there for sure. If we don't, that'd be a problem. Something would have went, incredibly wrong if that happens. Something would have went incredibly wrong. So we should win this game. Elaine says, what's non-conference? So non-conference games. So you're going to have, how many conference games do we have? We have, what is it? 8. Yeah, you have 8 conference games, and then non-conference games are games that you play against teams that's not in your conference, right? So, like for example, UTSA, one of the non-conference games we played this year was Tennessee. Tennessee's in the SEC. So that would be considered a non-conference matchup. Since you're a Baylor Bear, I'll give you one. I think one of Baylor's non-conference games was Texas State, right? Texas State is a non-conference game for Baylor. So that's what that is. Let's see. ATX says, trailer about ready to leave over Army, join the AAC. Me too. 1,000%. That's funny that you bring that up. I'm ready to leave off of I just don't like us playing Army. Listen, our team is a lot of the times what you'll see, and if you just take a step back, take a broad step back and just think about college football teams and think about how teams are structured, right? All teams are generally structured in a way to be able to handle the other teams in their conference, right? So, for example, you look at Alabama, right? Alabama is the easy one. They have Alabama, for a fact, you're going to get huge receivers, huge running backs, huge linemen on both sides of the ball. You're going to get the meanest linebackers that you can ever find. You're going to get tall corners. Like, that's what you're going to get with an Alabama team, right? So if you look at Alabama's biggest, one of the biggest rivals they have, right, Georgia, guess what Georgia does? Well, they go get those same type of players so they can compete with Alabama. And if you look at the way their offenses and defenses operate, it's all tailored around whoever the best is there, right? So, like, you don't see a lot of variety in, like, the successful teams in these conferences because they're all built to kind of play with each other, to play against each other, right? And that's just kind of how the sausage is made, in a sense. If you look at our Conference USA, you even look at the AAC, we are a spread offense conference. We are a spread offensive conference. So we lack size in the interior, for example. Like our interior, that's why we are spread, because we don't have the big hog mollies. We don't have enough of them up front of the line to clear space and to block and open up run lanes and things like that. And we typically have a lot of good receivers. We typically have a lot of good skill positions, but we don't have the beef up front because, number one, there's not a 1,315,000 linemen that can run 4.7 40s, right? They when those guys exist, they typically go to your Alabamas or somewhere in the SEC. So our team and our conference adjusts properly. The problem with Army is that they don't follow the rules. That's the part that, and it's because that, they normally play independent schedules and things like that. But them coming into the conference It just kind of disrupts things. And they were a little bit more spread last season, to be fair. But they still just play in a way that is just, I don't know, going to be a kryptonite and just going to be tough to deal with. And it just frustrates me, if I'm honest. I don't want to see him. Let's see. Elaine says, I am new. Yes. That's great. Welcome. Please hit that subscribe button and like the video so we can build the community more. That is awesome. Let's see. We have another comment. Mike says, one of the goals next year needs to be to finish as a top 25 team. Interesting. That means we need to win the games we're supposed to. And then the schedule is favorable to accomplish that. Yeah. Here's what I'll say. I think that's a tall, it's going to be a tall order for us. And it's not that I feel like we can't do that, but we're going to be going through a quarterback transition. And that is going to dictate what things look like for us next year. And for us to be ranked in our situation, we're going to, if we lose 2 games, it'll never happen, right? One game will be fine, but if we lose a couple games, it may not happen. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I just want to caution us just a little bit because we're going to have a brand new quarterback, and we know how rocky some of those. Listen, sometimes the transitions are great, but sometimes they can take a little bit of time. So I don't know if I want to put us on that. Listen, if I'm honest, that should have and could have been the goal for this season, 100%, considering who we had coming back and that sort of thing. I just don't know if next season, considering the transition period that we're going to be going through, I don't know. We'll have to see. Roadrunner Hype. Feel like we're going to see Owen Pee-wee with some big plays in the bowl game. Do you got a read in on that? Are you seeing something I haven't been seeing? I hope so. Listen, I'm all for oh, okay. I see why you're saying this. Gotcha. I hope he does. It's good to get listen, when there are absences and there's opportunities, people got to come in, step up, and ball out. Simple as that. And I hope he's able to do that. I hope he's able to do that. Listen, everybody on that defense is going to have to step up. That's kind of what it is. Everybody is. So, absolutely. ATX says non-conferences, Kennesaw State, Texas, and HCU, formerly Houston Baptist U. Okay. I like 3 of those for sure. I like the Texas one also. I don't know if I'm going to favor us to win that one, but I like it. Yeah. I can see UTSA beating all 3. Okay. Let's see. Elaine says, with Frank Harris gone at QB, who's the next guy up? Yeah, that's going to be a really big question. I think, McCown is what everybody is really he is what everybody is got faith in right now, and I do too. ELM could also, Italy Marburger could also be someone that steps in and put in a shift and could possibly win a job and be our leader next year. I'm going to just watch the transfer portal though. I'm going to watch what we do from a recruiting standpoint and see who we bring in. I am almost certain that Traylor's going to bring in somebody at that quarterback position that's a veteran. I think he'd be wise to do so. So yeah, I think that to me, if he's able to do that, then I think, we could potentially have a big season next year and just pick up where we left off. But, and I'm not saying that we can't do that with McCown or Italy Marburger either, but I think that if we can go and get a vet to at least push those guys, I think that'll be really, really important. Jerry Stahl and his pops. He says, just everybody should give a shout out to my pops, man. He just had a birthday a couple days ago, so happy birthday to him. But he says bowl games are unpredictable a lot of the time. UTSA should win. Yep. Bowl games are unpredictable, but I think for Marshall not being Marshall not being a team that's going to be fully there because they got guys sitting out, guys entering the transfer portal, I think that gives UTSA the advantage because the vast majority of our guys are playing. Mike says, haven't heard any noise on a QB transfer via the portal. Wonder if it's going to be Owen leading the team next season. Listen, I am okay with Owen leading the team. I think he did show some promise, and we got to be patient with those guys too. I mean, he came in, went and did what he was. He did some good things. That was his first time under the lights, but going into a season as the starting quarterback, as the nucleus to a football team is completely different than being the backup and then being called upon to come in a game for a couple of plays, right? I think that part is that one's big. That's big in my opinion. I think that is something that we need to keep an eye on. So like I know I want them to bring in a vet, but I want them to bring in a vet to come in and compete. Because a vet comes in to compete, it's going to only increase McCown's ability to perform, or just increase I like the pressure also. Like going through a battle in camp to win a spot is tough, and it's going to be something that is there's going to be a lot of eyes on it, and that's going to prepare you to be the main topic of a podcast like this every single week, game in and game out during the regular season, right? So I'm not saying Owen can't do it. I would love for him to do it. I love his confidence. I love that tweet that he did whenever he said your quarterback is right here. Some people need to pin that 100%, but yeah, I just think that we'll see. But I hope they do bring in a vet to help up level them a little bit. Next comment here from Mike. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is from Bob. Bob says, Conference USA and Sun Belt got better after realignment, whereas we did not improve much. You know what? I haven't kept up with Conference USA, if I'm honest. CUSA realignment. I'm curious to see. Okay. Expands to 12 teams. Oh, crap. I'm not. If you guys can. Okay, let's see. Big 12, Conference USA. So we got Marshall left. Delaware. Okay, so they joined Jacksonville State, Liberty, New Mexico State, Sam Houston. Kennesaw State joined. Delaware joined. Am I missing something? I don't know if they just got better like that, if I'm honest. I don't know. Did they? I don't know. Do you mean like this year specifically? I don't know. I'll be interested to see another comment on that one. ATX says, for all the hate the portal gets, there's no reason why UTSA shouldn't land an experienced quarterback vet. The portal is designed exactly for this type of situation. Yes, I really, really, really hope so. That is something I am really I'm not going to go on too long about it, but as I said before, we need to bring in a quarterback vet. Not to say that person's going to just – listen, it would be great to go get one of these big-time quarterbacks from one of these big schools with all this talent that we can just slot right in. That would suck for our guys that we have already. But like I said, even if we don't, I'm not saying that we're even going to be the school that's going to do that. What I do want to see, though, is there are going to be some talented guys that sees UTSA and think that this is a good spot for them to come to. When they do come in, all right, how does Owen McCown respond to that? How does Eddie Lee Marburger respond to that? Are they going to leave now, right? Like, how does that work? I want to see competition, and I want to see whoever wins out that quarterback battle. That's kind of what I want to see. Like, here's why. Like, whenever you have two young guys that are inexperienced going in for a quarterback battle, to me that can just not always be the best thing. I think that having a veteran in the mix all the time is just going to keep guys sharp. It's just going to keep guys sharp, keep guys on their P's and Q's, because the vets are going to understand. They're probably going to have had some experience. They may be in a situation where they are a lot more composed in some of these situations, and you just need that mind in the room, especially from a quarterback perspective. You need those type of minds in the room pushing the young guys. So, yeah, I'm all for getting the vet 1,000%. Let's see. Angela says, "Hello, Angela. I enjoy your show. People that are true fans stick with the team no matter what. Not jump ship just because they didn't win every game or we don't get the best bowl." Yeah, I am 1,000% with you. 100% with you there. I think, my thing is, let's just all have some perspective. Things are not going to be perfect. And I'll go back to something that our friend Farrah said to begin the season. UTSA is not always going to win conference every single year. Yeah, we got spoiled because we won 2 years in a row. I'm with that. And I understand the standard is high now, and that I get that and I appreciate. However, let's have some perspective. Everything is not going to be perfect every time, but I really do think, since we haven't won a bowl game, that we still have an opportunity to make this season a largely successful season by capturing that first bowl win. We have not won a bowl game. It is important for us to win it. It's important for our program. It's another huge milestone that we can reach. And for those particular seniors that we have, it'll be a great way to send them along into the real world. So, yeah, it's just all about perspective. Elaine saying, "Happy birthday, Pops." Mike, yeah, I appreciate you guys for doing that. Let's see. Angela also says, like the attendance. Okay, this was a continuation from our first comment. Like the attendance at the Dome, it was packed. They lose people jumping ship. There's no crying in football. If you're a fan, deal with it. I'm going bowling. Go Runners. I love it, Angela. I love it 100%. I love the attitude toward it. I love the perspective. I love it. And folks with this attitude is huge. So yeah, that's big. That's what we need. That's the type of infectious. We need that type of attitude to be infectious across the community, man. So we can have a lot of great support for the Runners going forward. Okay, Runners Hype says, quarterback competition is always good, but do you think coach should have a definite QB1 after camp, casting no doubt for the team and confidence? 100%. That's a really good comment and a really good question, Roadrunner Hype. I really, really appreciate that. Listen, I cannot stand when we go into a season and it's always a bad sign when the coach can't announce a starter. It's always a bad sign. Always a bad sign. Because that tells me that somebody's not separating themselves enough, right? But it also tells me that the coach isn't happy with something. And it happens every time. And then 9 times out of 10, when you see that happen, guess what happens? That starting quarterback gets rolled out there for game 1. He has 2 bad series, and then the backup comes in. Then the backup may play well for the next game, and they announce the backup as the starter for the next game. And guess what happens after the first half? He plays bad, the other guy comes in. And then they just constantly switch. And then what's even worse, here's the third evolution of that. The third evolution of that is now you start having packages where you have one quarterback do this thing and the other quarterback do another thing. I can't stand it. I hope we're never in that situation. I don't want that. I would much rather go into the season and a coach says, you know what? My quarterback is Owen McCown. Perfect. Cool. If he plays bad after 3-4 weeks, okay, cool. It makes sense to go ahead and move on. But I'm telling you, man, that is the one position that if there's any uncertainty about rotation or about your place in the team, you can throw off a quarterback's confidence like that. And you can screw your season up like that. 1,000%. You don't ever want a quarterback rotation. Anytime, if you hear quarterback rotation, run the other way. Run the other way. Because that means something bad's happened. Don't listen, take your money out of that stock every single time. It's never a good situation. It's never good. I think most coaches feel that way. I'm telling you, man, quarterback is a tricky position. It is as much mental as it is being able to deliver the passes and it being physical. And you know, those guys get treated differently for a reason. For a reason. And I think it is a valid reason to treat them differently on. So, yeah, I am not a fan of the quarterback rotation type deal. We 1,000% will need to have a no doubt starter going into week 1 or coming out of camp. And honestly, I'd like them to announce it mid-camp. So the rest of that camp, that quarterback can be operating as the guy. The team can really get behind him, and we can roll right into week 1 with no issues. That to me is the ideal situation. Let's see. D says, happy birthday, bro. Oh, so it's not my birthday. It's my pop's birthday. But appreciate it either way. ATX says, case in point, the 2020 season was a QB carousel, even though Harris won the starting job. Yeah, it was a joke. Just not good. Not ever good. Mike says, if we finish next year still with no clear plan to get the cover practice facility done, do we need to look at changing the AD? New leadership might be needed to take the program to the next level. Good. I'm glad you brought this up, Mike. Mike is always banging on with with great comments each and every time we do this. So, yeah, I think that definitely needs to be up for here's the thing, man. Sometimes about like the whole AD thing, like, yeah, you know when you have a good one, right? You know it's pretty clear when you have a good one. But here's my thing. Once you start losing the support of the fan base and start losing the support of, you know, donors and just people in general, and all year your job is getting questioned, the damage is done. The damage is done. If you have the head coach indirectly calling you out in interviews because, you know, he's under, you know, he doesn't have enough money to pay his staff. He doesn't have enough money to, you know, appease players to stay. He doesn't have facilities that we need, so on and so forth. The way I see that, man, is you know, the job is already done. Who's just going to have the guts to do it? And what I mean by that is who's going to have the guts to make the change? Not an easy job at all. Not an easy job at all. But one of these things, and I think we'll learn this as a bigger, you know, as the prestige increases in our program, is that like a lot of these things is just about being liked half the time. Like, and I'm sure we all got people that we probably work with or something like that like they may not be just great at their job, but everybody likes them, right? So now, but they're considered, and because of that, they're considered a high performer, right? And it's easier for them to influence people to help. It's easier for them to influence stakeholders to buy into a new product or a new idea or something like that, right? And I think that, and listen, I just go off what I see on Twitter. I go off on what you guys in our small community, what you guys share with me. I don't see anyone like, well, no, I do see people on Twitter calling for her job 1,000%. I see it happen all the time. I don't know if I've got that sentiment from you guys here that you're calling for her job. Because I think just calling for somebody's job is always sort of a tough thing, especially if you've met them and shook their hand and that sort of thing, because it's somebody losing their employment and losing money and things like that. But What I have seen in this community 100% on this live chat is people question, what is she doing? Because it seems like we're missing the mark on so many areas, and the role and the areas that we're missing the mark on that's being called out repeatedly in the media, not by just me or the Alamo Audible guys, or not just, some of the other podcasts around here, Meat Beat Nations and all that. Like, not just us, it's also coaches. There's, people who have donated a significant amount of money that has also been questioned, and I've talked to some of them about some of this stuff. So whenever you start losing the hearts and minds of all the people that's supposed to support you, I think, you got to start looking at, making changes, period. That's how we do it. And I agree with your point. New leadership might be what needs to take us to the next level. More creativity. All right. ATX says QB rotation only works for K-State. Good one. Yeah. They can. K-State be having quarterbacks wearing 23. Who knows? Let's see. ATX says Willie Fritz throwing shade at the Tulane admin before he left about lack of facility upgrades should be a smoke alarm for the UTSA administration. Yeah, 100%. Listen, Traylor's already thrown shade. The shade is he's thrown slugs, rocks, whatever you want to call it, at them already. Like, I know everybody's seen that clip about, he's been very, very vocal about the lack of resources 1,000 times. Every time he's asked about it, he does not mince his words at all. At all. And he's not just doing that. And I think some people's perspective on it is like, oh, well, like he's really just trying to get more donors. And yes, he is. Like, don't get me wrong. Yes, that is part of why he's saying some of the things he's saying. But the other part too is like, hey, UTSA administration, the folks up in the office, can you please get me more resources? Can we build a covered practice facility like 50% of the high schools in this state have? Come on, man. Mike says, hate to see anyone lose their job, but at some point, certain leadership can only take you so far. Sometimes a change is needed to take the next step. Yeah, that's just the nature of the beast, man. That's life. You don't want people to lose their job every day. It sucks. It doesn't make anybody feel warm and cozy 100%. But it is what it is at some point, and especially in a job that is as public as being an AD for an athletic program at a big school. It is no different than a general manager or something that's working in the front office for the Cowboys or something like that. Like, there's going to be a lot of public scrutiny on the moves that you make. And, if you don't make moves that are good, and if they are questionable and they come back and smack you in the face, then yes, people are going to be calling for your job. And what do we see most of the time in this industry? People lose it. That's the reality of the situation. That's the job that she signed up for, though. And that's kind of how it is. It's kind of how it is. Mike says, you doing a college football playoff preview show? If you guys would like that, I will absolutely do that. Just let me know if you guys would like something like that. I will absolutely do that. Roadrunner Hype says, the direct donation to Trailer to determine how the money gets used was alarming. Like, the donor doesn't fully trust the admin to distribute it properly. Listen, that's a great point, Roadrunner Hype. Great point, 100%. You've been on fire today. That to me is exactly what it is. Is exactly what it is. There isn't trust. That's what I mean by, like, yeah, it probably is time to look at making a change. There's no trust. There's no trust. There's no trust because plans, I just feel like plans can be at least communicated to the people that are directly involved. Just so they can have a bit of confidence. But like I said, whenever your head coach, and this is not me calling out Trey, I'm glad he does it, but whenever the head coach goes in and he talks about, I need this practice facility, I need this, I need that. Well, to me, that means that, like, he doesn't know exactly what the plan is, or if he does know what the plan is, he's lost faith in the plan because something has not been delivered on the timeline that he wanted it to be delivered. So if he's even the one doing that, that to me should warrant question 100%. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap there. But listen, I am dropping a link. I just dropped a link to the article I just wrote. I have a Substack. I created a Substack. It's called Blanket Coverage. I'm playing off corner. I was a corner, so yes, Blanket Coverage. I will have articles on there, just reading content for you all. Not going to be super long. They're supposed to be meant for, easy consumption. If you guys would mind entering your email to join a newsletter, that would be excellent. That would really be helpful for me. I'm going to be doing pieces on all of the commits for UTSA, all of the folks on signing day and what I think. I just did one on Elijah Newell, the safety that we just signed or that just committed to the school. So a lot more of that stuff coming on. There's going to be a lot more content coming from Roadrunners Unfiltered. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to be posting a lot of that stuff on Twitter as well. So, yes, I appreciate you guys for being here, and I will catch you guys next week after the game for the recap. Peace.